The health department reported an all-time high new COVID-19 cases today at 17,200. Metro Manila and two other areas will be downgraded to modified ECQ status starting tomorrow. However, curfew hours will remain according to the IATF. Bodies up for cremation are piling up in Cebu City as the LGU continues to see an uptick in COVID-19 infections. The Foreign Affairs Department reports that 13 more Filipinos have been pulled out of war-torn Afghanistan. And in sports, figure skater Michael Martinez will not be vying for a slot in the upcoming Winter Olympics in Beijing. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. The health department reported 17,200 new COVID-19 cases on Friday. That is the highest single-day tally since the onset of the pandemic. The country is now dealing with 123,000 active infections, with the total caseload now at 1.8 million. 26.1% of the 64,900 people who tested for today's COVID-19 bulletin yielded positive results. The Octa Research Group has forecasted a spike in COVID-19 cases sometime this week or next. Speaking to One News Now, Professor Guido David said this does not mean that the two-week ECQ period has been ineffective.
The effects of the lockdown will be felt usually after 4 weeks, in the sense that we will see a downward trend after the fourth week. So by our estimates, this would be around mid-September, about the second week of September, when we will see a downward trend.
Metro Manila, along with Laguna and Bataan, will be under modified ECQ status starting tomorrow until the end of the month. In the NCR, the unified curfew hours from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. are still very much in place, and only those between ages 18 to 65 years old will be allowed to go outside. Meanwhile, outdoor exercise will again be allowed from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. while public transport will remain operational at limited capacity. Religious gatherings will be staying virtual or online for now, and necrological services will still be limited to immediate family members. Unlike the previous MECQ, this time around, indoor and alfresco dining will be prohibited. Same goes with personal care services such as beauty salons. Entertainment and recreational venues, as well as indoor and outdoor sports studios, such as gyms, will remain closed. In Cebu City, crematoriums remain very much overwhelmed as COVID-19 cases and deaths in the area continue to rise. Jenny Dongon with the story.
This group of men are in a hurry to finish 2 dozens of steel rocks on Friday as ordered by the Cebu City LGU. But these are not your ordinary shelves, as remains of COVID-19 victims will be placed here. They will be then stored in a trailer-sized freezer reportedly lent to the LGU by a concerned citizen. This after one of the city's funeral homes was found storing cadavers in a chest freezer meant for food storage. This huge freezer can keep at least 25 bodies. A huge help while there are no spaces in the city's crematoriums. Cebu City crematoriums remain overwhelmed amid the uptick in the number of bodies for cremation.
Siguro every 15 minutes or 10 minutes we receive a call inquiring about cremation. Grabe ho, ma'am. Then di lang ho kasi namin kaya. We can only accommodate up to 7 bodies a day. So first come first serve tayo. I don't know, ma'am, kung kakayanin.
This has prompted the LGU to look for spaces in cemeteries that could serve as burial grounds. But cemeteries in the city are also crumbling to accommodate remains of COVID-19 victims. According to Cebu City Emergency Operations Center, only 14 COVID-19 deaths were recorded in June 2021. It then rose to 87 in July and to 202 in just the first 19 days of August, translating to at least 8 daily deaths.
As early as June, talagang ina-assume na namin na nandito na talaga si Delta kasi yung kaso is talagang everywhere. Saka very fast yung transmission. We might have the best contact tracing in the country, but it was really suffocating on our part.
As of August 19, Cebu City's caseload stands at over 35,200 with some 4,600 active cases. Despite the threat of COVID-19 and the highly infectious Delta variant, the city remains under the less stricter MECQ. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, PR1 News.
And in other news, lawmakers pressed the health and budget departments over their purchase of overpriced face masks and face shields last year, as flagged by the Commission on Audit. Maan Enriquez with the details.
Lawmakers questioned the Health Department's transfer of 42 billion pesos to the Budget Department's procurement services during the resumption of the House Committee hearing on public accounts. That amount was supposed to be used for buying medical supplies and equipment like PPE, face masks, and face shields. Lawmakers asked how it had happened without a memorandum of agreement and other paperwork. The DOH tried to justify it, saying a MOA for such common use items isn't necessary. On top of that, the items in question were overpriced. The masks were 27 pesos apiece, while the shields were 122 each. Recall that the DOH itself released a memo stating that suggested retail prices of masks should be 2 to 4 pesos, while shields should be 26 to 50 pesos. Bayan Muna's Carlos Arate also emphasized that the DOH could actually make the procurements itself. So why would it lodge funds to the DBMPS when it isn't really necessary? He sounded the alarm over a possible conflict of interest.
There may arise a conflict of interest here, Mr. Chair. No? Isang ahensya na nagtatalaga ng budget, in fact, very powerful ang DBM, Mr. Chair. Sa mga sinasubmit na budget ng mga departamento ay pwede ito mag-decide na kaltasan. No? Sabihin nila, ito lang ng budget na pwedeng ilaan sa inyo. Tapos eventually, a big chunk of that budget that they approve will go back to them, no, in the form of procurement. So something is wrong there. No?
The DOH had also asked the DBMPS to procure COVID-19 vaccines in its behalf back in January 25. But the DBMPS said it denied the DOH request.
We do not have the capability to handle the nationwide rollout of the vaccines kasi we have limitations in terms of manpower, storage requirement, plus the technical know-how, Mr. Chair.
It also noted that no funds were transferred for the supposed vaccine procurement. In any case, the DOH's earlier transfer of billions to the PSDBM resulted in the expiry of about 2 billion pesos in savings, an amount that an exasperated Zarate deems as a huge waste of taxpayers' money.
Kaya nakakapanggalit, Mr. Chair. No? Hindi nga nabayaran yung ating mga healthcare workers. No? Maraming dapat nagamit pa ang 2 billion na yan kung ang DOH ay ginamit niya yan to augment. We are saying na August na, ay hindi pala nakapark sa PSDBM. This is for reversion to the Treasury Department. No?
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee will hold another hearing to investigate former Budget Undersecretary Christopher Lau. Lau allegedly oversaw the procurement of the overpriced equipment for the DOH. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
We're going to pause for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Keep it here. You're back on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, is keeping a close eye on social media influencers who have been remiss in paying taxes. However, some content creators are not very happy about this. Gerard De La Peña tells us why in this report.
James Caraan works as a stand-up comedian in bars until the pandemic happened. To stay afloat while keeping his passion for entertainment alive, James ended up doing podcasts. Among his viral contents include parodies, especially that of Nas Daily. James's growing popularity caught the attention of several brands, for which he makes sponsored content. This allowed him to earn even more online. Likewise, James and even online personalities have caught the attention of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. The BIR has recently released a memo reminding online personalities to pay their taxes. This doesn't sit well with James.
Bago nyo kami taksan, ayusin nyo muna yung paggamit nyo ng funds. And sana mapaalis yung mga kurakot na officials. Kung may mababalitaan ako na ganyan sa mga DOH, na yung mga PhilHealth, di ba? Malabo.
From January to June, BIR's collections went past the trillion mark, slightly higher than the target as the economy improves. But the Bureau said it has to raise over 2 trillion pesos this year amid the public health crisis. It wants to increase collections without having to pass new laws.
Wala pong pinagkaiba in a traditional way na kung dati mga establishment nag-hire sila ng models to promote their products. But we are seeing this visible industry na thriving and growing. So we're putting it out na as reminder, uy, kailangan nyo rin magrehistro, kailangan nyo rin magbayad ng buwis.
The BIR reminds content creators to register with it in the Department of Trade and Industry. They'd be exempted from taxes if their annual income is below 250,000 pesos. Those enrolled under the DTI's Micro Business Enterprise Program won't also have to pay taxes if their annual income is below 3 million pesos.
Ang pwede ko lang sabihin is sana all, alam nyo kung sino kayo, alam nyo kung ano yung ginagawa nyo, at ano yung nagawa ng digital platform in terms of improving your status.
The BIR also reminded content creators who are already taxed abroad to ask for a certificate of tax credits from their company. That's in order to avoid double payment of taxes here. The BIR also noted that it's strengthening its run against tax evaders or rate program.
Dapat matakot sa BIR. Tulad natin, gusto natin mag-create ng content na either passion or for business. Si BIR, yun yung trabaho nila. Kailangan nilang mag-assess kung sino yung mga kumikita at dapat magbayad ng.
For News 5, Gerard De La Peña, we are One News.
PBA has received verbal approval from the Pampanga LGU to be the venue for the postponed Philippine Cup. Commissioner Willie Marshall said they're just waiting for an official permit before having the teams tested for COVID-19. While dates have yet to be finalized, each team will be given 1 week to train before the resumption of the PBA season. The league will be played in a semi-bubble format where teams will be staying in different hotels within the province. Figure skater Michael Martinez will not be vying for a spot in the upcoming Winter Olympics in Beijing. The Philippine Skating Union has instead named Adrian Celestino and Sofia Frank to the Nebelhorn Trophy, a qualifying event for the Winter Games. Martinez, a 3-time Winter Olympian, can still play in the qualifying event if the country skating union decides. Time to take a quick look at today's other top stories. 13 more Filipinos have been repatriated from the Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. They are headed to the United Kingdom, joining 5 other Filipinos who have already sought shelter. 5 other Filipinos, meanwhile, are in the safe hands of the Indonesian government. Some 582,000 and a half doses of AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine were delivered to the Philippines on Friday. This batch was procured by the private sector and LGUs through a tripartite agreement with the national government. Meanwhile, 739,200 jabs donated by the Chinese brand Sinopharm arrived in the country this afternoon. Tropical depression Isang has maintained its strength while traversing the Philippine Sea. Pagasa says that Isang is not likely to bring heavy rainfall and will remain far from the country's landmass. Isang is also forecast to exit the Philippine area of responsibility on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.